What's up? Thursday evening. Oh, what's up, everybody? Bring the music down. I gotta fade it out, Delco Steve. All right, I'm doing it. See how it doesn't do it smoothly? And I'm actually bringing it down smoothly, like I'm supposed to. What's up? I guess I don't look as bad as I thought I was going to look. It's been a long day. So for whatever reason, like I'm diabetic, I gotta use an insulin pump, and my blood sugars are very good. I'm actually, this is probably the healthiest I've been as a diabetic in my life. But like when weather changes and there's factors like that, it messes around with kind of how much insulin you need and how much you don't need. So you got to finagle with it a little bit, but you realize you have to finagle with it after you have highs or you have lows or things like that. So the last 2 nights, like, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, my sugars plummeted. So I use something called a Dexcom that's on my arm. It's on this arm right here. And it'll alert me if my sugar's low. And my sugar was really low. So naturally, your body, when your sugar gets low, you just want to inhale food. Like I'm talking about, you're pounding food. And if your sugar's really low or it takes it a while to rebound, I can't control myself and I just keep eating and eating. So last night, and when I say this, I'm not kidding, I ate like 3/4 of a loaf of bread, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't even know how many, like 8 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 7 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, no joke. So you know what happens after that? Then now my blood sugar, I try to account for it by taking insulin. And I wake up, my blood sugar is like 600. So I had a miserable night's sleep. And then I was up early as always with my children. And then I drove down and I was on with the Cuz on PHLY from 10 to like 11:15. The Cuz, Jamie Lynch, joined us for a half hour. And it was a lot of fun. It was awesome. It really was. They have a great setup down there. I had been down there before. I've seen the site before, but I've never been part of a show before. And it was really good. A lot of no negative comments at all. I even looked at the comments, Delco Steve. I looked at the comments on YouTube and Twitter and things like that. And everybody was saying like it was good and I need to go there and that should be the show and everything else. So
I mean, how could it be bad? It was getting the boys back together.
Well, because people are always finicky and they want to get mad about everything. So anyway, yeah. So like it was really positive. It was good. So you can check it out if you. I put it on my Instagram story and on my Twitter, but it's also if you go to PHLY Sports on YouTube, you can find it. So yeah, it was a positive experience, Delco Steve. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Love to hear it. I'll be on my list of things to listen to tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Jamie Lynch came in, and for people that don't know, I worked with Anthony and Jamie from when Ant came to the Fanatic and he was working mornings. I worked with him for a year and a half, and then I left to go to WIP. Delco Steve was also, that's when he was a part of the show. He was an intern, but he was much more than an intern.
It was a punchline.
Well, no, but you were doing actual work. You were doing actual real production work, and you should have been paid as an employee, and you should have sued the company.
That would have been awesome. I would have loved to have done all that.
Sued the company?
Yeah.
Well, that's why they don't offer. No, honestly, that's why they don't offer internships anymore, because a bunch of interns that were doing real work like you actually sued the company. Not Greater Media, but I think Sirius got sued. CBS Radio got sued. A bunch of big companies got sued. And it was right during when you were interning. So that's why afterwards they're like, nope, no more interns. Now, if there's an intern at WIP, we would have maybe, and it wouldn't even be our intern. There'd be maybe 2 interns an entire year for the station because they're paid. So that
makes more sense though, too. And you're getting better experience and you're getting more hands-on experience, more training from the people that actually, want you to succeed, all that.
I think it's terrible because these spoiled brat, they're not even millennial, I don't think. These spoiled brat punks that are like, I want to be paid and you should be paying me if I'm doing real work. The reason you're doing an internship is you're in college. It's for college credit. Would I have gotten a job in radio if I didn't have an internship? Yeah, of course I would have. But you know what? It got me a job quick. I got an internship. I worked hard. They're like, wow, this guy's awesome. Let's hire him. And I mean, you should have been hired the same way, but you saw the dynamic of the station.
Oh, yeah.
Fanatic. Everybody was an intern. All the producers were interns that worked under us and were awesome. Devon was an intern. James Seltzer was an intern. Jack was an intern. You were an intern. Like everybody that was good, that was an intern, like except you, got hired. Even the bad Pat Egan was an intern. And then if you look at WIP, Jamie Lynch was an intern. Turtle was an intern. It was the same thing. And when you can't have these internships, guess who gets screwed? The friggin' students that now it's much more difficult for them to get a job. And like they've reached out to me and I'm like here's some suggestions to do, but like what do you do? So anyway.
Yeah, I thought that was the funniest thing when I was trying to get entry-level positions. It was like, oh yeah, you need 5 years experience for entry-level position. I'm like, oh, okay.
But it's entry level. How are you supposed to get 5 years of experience?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, explain that one.
Oh man. Yeah. So it was fun. Jamie came on the last after Ant and I did the half hour, then Jamie came on. He was scheduled to do 10:30. And I knew that was going to be awesome because I love Anthony. I love Jamie. Jamie is awesome. He's the man.
And those two have worked together for eons at
15 years or something.
So they just roll together at that point.
And Jamie's such an idiot. I love it.
He's the best. Jamie's the best.
He is the best. And he was the best again. And so you had flip-flops on. The elevator was broken. So, and they're on the 7th floor. So you got to walk up 7 floors.
Oh, there you go. You got your workout in for the day.
Yeah. I didn't need to work out, but Jamie had flip-flops on. It's like rainy and cold. I wearing flip-flops.
Dude, that dude's always in flip-flops and it freaks me out.
So anyway, I'm like, why are you wearing flip-flops? And he's like, well, I was, late getting out of the house or whatever. And they just threw them on. And I'm looking at his feet. And yes, Michael Richmond, who is a diehard viewer of the program right here every night. He was also, did you work with was Michael Richmond? He was before your time, right?
We talked about this before. The name doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah. He was before. He was a couple years before you, at least. But so like now Jamie's like, yeah, I got flip-flops. And I'm looking at his feet and I'm like, you know what? Like
gnarly?
No, they were in very good shape. That's what I noticed. I'm like, wow, like the nails are manicured. And I also noticed that my feet are really fucked up. I need to go to a podiatrist. I'm serious. I just thought everybody had really.
Don't lean back and show me your feet right now.
But I kind of want to because I
don't.
So my heels are really, really dry and cracked. So much so that I put stuff on it every night. But when it gets really bad, I get Aquaphor and I just put so much Aquaphor on my feet and then I wrap it in like cling wrap. And then I put a sock over top of it. So the sock doesn't absorb the Aquaphor. And that'll help me out. Like my heels are really cracked today. I wouldn't have been able to work out today because my feet were hurting so bad.
You need one of those, like the waxing thing. You put the feet in the wax and
I've tried all that. No, I need to go to a podiatrist. And then like on the top of my foot where like the sock line is, I wear ankle socks where the sock line is. There's just really, it's like a quarter size dry skin. This isn't normal. I just thought it was normal.
I'm going to go with this.
I'm sorry. You said this is really. No, so and here's another thing, Reps. I actually, when I went down the shore last year, it was right when I was my wife's wedding anniversary. So I took her. It was part for the anniversary, but we went the day before we were leaving and we got a his and her pedicure over at the whatever. And it was like, I've gotten a pedicure before, but it's been a really long time. And it was awesome. My feet were soft and everything, but it also makes your feet really vulnerable to getting fucked up after that. I was in so much pain. It was like great for a day until then I'm walking all over the place and I'm walking in sandals and on the beach and on the boardwalk, walking miles. I could barely walk.
Yeah. I can't say I've ever got one, so I don't know the experience.
There you go.
Like 40-year-old virgin when he kicks the girl in the face, like that would be me if someone was touching my feet because I'm so ticklish.
I know diabetics have to take care of our feet, Sean. That's why I'm asking. I thought that, but I go to an endocrinologist a couple times a year. They always check my feet. They've never told me go get this checked out or whatever. But this happens in the winter, and then it doesn't happen in the summer. So anyway. Well, there you go. Yeah, so Jamie Lynch's feet were delicious. There you go. They look delicious. They look great. So
You
how
got,
about that?
are you a feet guy? You got a feet
I
thing
do
going?
not
Are
like
you Rex
feet.
Ryan? You
I
Rex
do not
Ryan?
like feet. I am a butt before boobs, but I like both. I'll
Yeah, I'm
just say
never going to
that.
complain with both.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who doesn't? Anyway, all right. So I was watching these videos earlier, and I was getting goosebumps. I went to Temple, but like I don't really, I went to Temple, but it wasn't by choice. It was because it was like, all right, I got to finish somewhere, and Temple's here, so I went to Temple. But like, I love Temple basketball growing up. My favorite team ever was the 87-88 Temple Owls. It was the Mark Macon. He was a freshman. Howie Evans, Mike Vrieswick, Ramon Rivas, Tim Perry. And they lost in the Elite Eight to Duke and Billy King, but they were the number one team for a lot of that season. They were a really, really good team. And John Chaney is right. John Chaney, Larry Boa, who else is like number one seeds for me in Philly sports? Like John Chaney is the man. I love John Chaney. Bryce Harper probably now on the list. So I was always a big Temple fan, but then like once John Chaney retired and the program. And Fran Duffy did a good job. All right. Like it's not easy to take over for John Chaney, but John Chaney was the program. And now you look at where they are and it'll never be the same. But so I don't even pay attention to Temple anymore. But I'm a college basketball fan when the teams are good in the city. And since Villanova's in the tournament every year, I root for Villanova. I'm not one of these Temple fans that are like, I never root for Villanova or St. Joe's or whatever. I rooted for St. Joe's when they made their run 20 years ago. I always root for Villanova. I love Jay Wright. Jay Wright's another guy. Jay Wright's awesome.
Jay Wright's awesome.
Awesome.
Give me those. I love the suits. The suits are awesome. His whole persona is great.
Yeah, he is, and he's do we realize he's an all-time great college basketball coach?
Yes.
100%. Won two titles in 3 years.
Yep.
It was 8 years ago tonight with the shot. So I'm getting goosebumps watching it. And then I was on with Anthony today. And I should have brought it up, but I didn't realize it till afterwards, or I didn't think about it till afterwards. So they win the tournament. What night is that? That's a Sunday night, right? Monday night.
Monday.
It's a Monday night. I watched the game. My buddy Ed Tell that owns the Razor Bars, the barbershop where I get my haircut. He got we have the movie tavern up here by me in Collegeville. So he rents out a movie tavern. He rents out a theater in the movie tavern. And on a Monday night at 8:00, there's, that's not a big deal. So we have there's like 60 guys in here watching this. And it was awesome. But the next morning, I was working with Anthony at the time. He's texting Jay because Anthony and Jay are tight. And Jay didn't get back to him because Jay probably had 10,000 text messages from everybody, right?
Easily.
So Matt Nahagian, the program director of the Fanatic at the time, calls the hotel room and rings Jay Wright's room. Matt was famous for this. He worked national radio. He was a producer and a program director on national radio. So this is a trick that a lot of national radio places would do. They know where all the hotels are for Super Bowls, for Pro Bowls, for wherever. So you ring the room, and more times than not, as I learned, players will come on. We got Nick Foles from the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, and he did the interview, and then WIP called the Eagles and was like, "What are you doing?" Because then we got Shady. Shady said he would do it, but then they shut that down. We got Cliff Lee after Cliff Lee got traded in Puerto Rico. He was on vacation. We tracked him down to Puerto Rico and got him on the phone and did an interview with him. Hotel room.
How the hell did you figure out he was staying in Puerto Rico?
Matt Nahagian, bro.
That's great.
Seriously, man. He is really, really good at things, and he was really, really good at doing that. He was unbelievable. I got Cliff Lee after that. It was an unbelievable get. But so we get Jay Wright. We woke Jay Wright up the day after they won the national championship and got him on the air. He came on the air and
he's probably hungover.
Well, he was definitely, and I think Anthony understood, he got it, and he didn't keep him as long as he would have kept him.
Yeah.
But we got Jay Wright the day after it, which was really cool. So Jay Wright is he's an all-time national, nationally he's an all-time, and locally the fact that he never left, the fact that he's a legitimate Philadelphia sports fan. You'll see him at Phillies games. I know where he lives down in Ocean City. I've seen him down in Ocean City. He loves to spend his summers down there. And like Jay's an all time. So I always rooted for Jay, and I've always rooted for Nova. But here, so we have the video, and this will get us non-monetized for this episode, but we don't monetize it anyway. So here's how it ended 8 years ago tonight. It must be coming up maybe in like 2 hours. 8 years ago tonight. Here's how it looked.
To the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship. The national champions.
Raleigh.
Jenkins hitting the winner at the buzzer. Jim, they're going to check it. I thought it was good live, but how about those onions? A counter. Double order, sauteed if it's good. Well, they're going to check the clock. If there's any time.
No, and it's a great call by, and I'm not a Jim Nantz fan, but I do think he's good. It is a great call by Jim Nantz. And Clark Kellogg nails it. He goes, look at Jenkins. I mean, look at the execution on this. And then North Carolina screwed up just enough by not switching.
With Archie Diacono.
You can see it, he's trailing.
Jenkins gives it to Jenkins.
Clean look. Holy shit. What a hell of a game, man! That was one of the all-time.
I was literally about to say all-time game.
All time.
When you can remember what you were doing when the game, like however many years later, you know it was an all-time game.
I was sick because I thought they blew it. They had that game won and they blew it at the end until that. I thought I was sick. Thought they lost. And then that shot right there. Now we have the Jay Wright reaction, which is this tells you all you need to know about this dude right here. Here's
3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
There's like a half smirk there.
3 seconds at midcourt.
I don't even think you can say half. It's like a negative smirk until then.
Oh man, like what?
I would never be able to keep my composure like that. Never.
No, I would have been. Yeah, you'd be up on the scorer's table.
My suit would have been on the ground at that point.
Wow, he's amazing. And someone had put this up there. Tim, yeah, he was smart. He got out before people saw what was coming. He saw what was coming, and he said it. He just didn't have the energy for it anymore.
Do you think he would have been a good NBA coach? Because there was those years where
Yes.
Sixers fans were calling for him to be the
Yes.
Sixers coach.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. He would have. But NBA, you need talent. So he's not. I mean, I would have loved to see it because when you talk about his teams, and I always think about a couple different guys when I think about Jay Wright and how good of a coach he was. I think of a Curtis Sumter or a who was it? Was it Cunningham, the power forward?
Yeah,
but you would get who ended up having NBA careers, but you would get these guys that as freshmen and sophomores, it was like they suck. Get this guy out of here, but they're a big body that rebounds and like there's a reason. They never had good bigs at Villanova back then. They would always have the guards. And then by the senior year, Curtis Sumter is one of their better offensive players, and they're relying on him. He was so good at developing guys. And I mean, his recruiting, he did well in Jersey, Long Island, pretty much from DC, Virginia, all the way up the coast to into New England was his recruiting territory. And he knew exactly who he was going after, and those guys came here. And it looked like for a while, like remember the Scotty Reynolds teams? They were a Final Four team, but Scotty Reynolds, Mike Nardi, Randy Foy, he had some really because sometimes you get really good college players that don't end up being NBA players, but he had a run of really really good NBA players too.
Yeah, Randy Foy was supposed to be a dude.
Yeah,
Didn't do much. Injuries.
Didn't do much. And you look at Jalen Brunson now, and the NBA slept on him. They really did. They thought
Yep.
they thought he was just another good college player, and he is developed into a really, really good player. But love Jay Wright, and that's still an amazing. And with NC State back in the Final Four this year, it's 41 years ago where they had their famous Final Four where shot goes up at the buzzer, it's short. I forget the player that picked it up, puts it back in, and they win. And Jim Valvano, Jimmy V's running around. Like, that would have been me and you. Valvano's reaction would have been me and you. That wasn't Jay Wright's reaction to it.
I wish I could just be like, oh, saw it. No way.
Yep. So it's one of the great moments in college basketball history. I also have a good personal Jay Wright story. So I was as a producer, or even really as a host, but this was as a producer when I worked with Mike Miss. So Jay was always very, like, technically you're supposed to go through the communication department of a college or a team or whatever. Like the people, they're very territorial. They don't want you directly texting a coach. They want you to go through them, whatever. And sometimes when those people aren't getting back to you, then you're like, all right. And
I gave you your shot.
Yeah. Like now, like, sorry, Mike's Mike's on me. So if Mike's telling me to do it, I'm going to do it. And Jay was always very cool about it. No problem at all. Right. So text him. He's like, yeah, like, come on. Yeah. So I remember I lived in West Philly at the time, and I was dating this girl, and she lived, I don't even know where she was living, maybe like Northern Virginia, wherever she was. And I was texting Jay and her, it was like texting Jay and then texting her. So I texted Jay Wright a text that was meant for her. And
it wasn't a special picture or anything, was it?
No, I just said, well, why don't you get a fucking cab? Was my text, because it was like this. I was like, just get a fucking cab. Like, what? Like, leave me alone. I was trying to go to work. I was like, just get a cab. And it's one of these things where you send it, and then, like, she replied back and without that text, and was like, who did I send that to? And I'm like, oh no. And I looked and I sent it to Jay. He sent me an LOL.
Because he knew exactly what it was.
He sent me an LOL. And I sent back like a sorry or whatever. But yeah, so that's my Jay Wright story. Other than that, and like having interviewed him a lot of times and met him on lots of occasions, he's everything you would think he would be, which is just a great overall dude.
You'll have to hear that when people live up to the expectations.
Yeah, it's almost like Bryce Harper, where you almost don't, like, you're like, there's got to be a skeleton somewhere. Like, this dude's just too perfect. Like everything that he does is just spot on. But Jay is he's really that good. So, yeah, man, that was a cool moment 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's a life aspiration of mine is to be able to afford one of his suits. Not his specifically, the guy who makes his suits.
I got a suit guy, and he's very reasonable.
Yeah, but I want that guy.
Well,
I want a Jay Wright suit guy.
What do you think? What do you think? What he's got, like three grand?
Oh, probably more than that.
Yeah,
probably more than that.
I do have a suit guy though. Robini, Robini. He'll come to your spot, measure you.
I actually got to go. I had to go get fitted for a suit next week or so for a wedding.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
A custom made suit just looks a little different, and I think it was like $600 or something like that when I got it.
That's a good deal.
That's what I'm saying. Compared to what we'll end up spending off the rack anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, boom, he delivered it. It might have been a little bit more than that, but it wasn't much.
I'm gonna probably pay $200 for a freaking rental. So.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Who died? He said he died.
Maybe the suit guy.
Rabini? No, he didn't.
Not your suit guy. Jay Wright's suit guy.
Did he? Did he?
I don't know. That's what I could see what they're talking. I'm just taking a guess here.
Frank Van Treska up in Doylestown now he's definitely a clothier for many people in the media. Like Howard Eskin. I was working at an event in Jay's suit guy died. All right. Damn. I was working at an event in Ambler, a Miller Lite event in Ambler during Eagles season, and all of a sudden Howard comes limping across the parking lot. He's like, I just want to stop by and check you out and show you some support. I'm like, man, thanks, Howard. And I'm like, what are you doing up here? And he's like, I'm just coming from Van Treska up in Doylestown, picking up a couple suits. I'm like, all right, man. You're the man, Howard.
Howard's
right,
a character.
Howard is, I say this to everybody, Howard is the man. I love Howard. Howard's been very good to me. And when I was a kid growing up, there was this sporting goods store called Gold Medal Sporting Goods. There was Herman's and Gold Medal, and there was a Gold Medal in the Willow Park Mall, and Howard endorsed Gold Medal. So, and then he came to my little league for opening day, probably in like 1986, and I got his autograph. He signed a ball for me. But Howard's been doing this a long time, brother.
You still have the ball?
I don't. No, I don't. I wish I did.
That would be funny. You could sign it and give it back to him.
Yep. Here you go, Howard. Yeah, so Howard's awesome. All right, what else did we want to talk about today? I know I wanted to mess around with that to start. All right, so let's get to the
Eagles news today.
Yeah, let's get to the Eagles stuff. And so this is Brandon Graham. And he was on, so he made the rounds up at ESPN. And he was looking good too. My guy BG. He did Sports Center. He did, I don't know if maybe Chris Carlin wasn't working, but Chris works a show. I think he does Drive Time on ESPN Radio National. So BG was on there. I don't know if Chris was on there. But let's play. We don't even need to listen to the whole thing. But I guess they asked him what happened last year. And I just thought this was interesting. So here's BG.
All the right coaches in the proper spots that could help us with what I didn't think we had all the right coaches in the proper spots that could help us with whatever Desaiv's message was, because it was just a bunch of miscommunication. That's all. That's what I would just say. It was just miscommunication that I know Howie regretted after the season, and I know now he's on it. And so that's what you see in this offseason. He's on getting the players, getting whatever it is Nick needs for his for him to have success. And man, I'm telling you, I believe in the dream of what's going on this year, and I love that Howie, took accountability of what happened last year and all that stuff. But I know that he's coming back with a vengeance, and I want to help him get to that.
So it wasn't the curse of.
Wow. All right. So Howie taking accountability for the debacle last year of the coordinators. How about that? We haven't gotten any insight like that.
Yeah,
it's a good nugget by BG.
But if that's the case, why wouldn't Howie just come out and be like, we made a mistake doing this and we're going to try shaking it up with this?
So I think publicly, you don't want to rip the coordinators that you fired. I mean, they lost their job and it's obvious. But when you're telling it to your guys in the team, especially a veteran leader like Brandon, and he says like, hey, listen, obviously we made a mistake. I don't know if he talked to the whole team or he talked to some of the team or whatever.
Right.
But it was pretty obvious they made a mistake and they made a bad mistake. I remember last year in training camp, and like people don't want to hear it, and then you just get like it just like stop saying it, and then they had a great start to the season, but it's like, is there nobody else a little bit scared that they'd have no experience with the coordinators? Sean Desai had 1 year as a coordinator and they got fired, and Brian Johnson has no experience as a coordinator. No, they'll be better than Jonathan Gannon. Oh, Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts, they're buddies. Everything's great, and then look at it. So
dude, every one of those trash Gannon is just, I feel like just don't get how defenses in the NFL are run anymore. It's like everyone's begging for like the 0-out blitzes that like the Wink Martindales or the old Jimmy Johnson defense. It's not how it is.
That's Gannon, not the way it works anymore.
I mean, teams did it this year because they were just like, oh, our defense talent is so depleted. We're just going to try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're going to give up 100 points either way.
Right.
So it's just like Gannon I thought was a very good defensive coordinator for us, except for, the Super Bowl. But
they still got like Gannon was good against bad quarterbacks and bad teams. But every time they faced a good quarterback, what happened?
But everybody faces a good, like most teams face a good quarterback, and that happens.
I hear you. I'm not the guy that wants to come out and rip Jonathan Gannon because I just like I think Jonathan Gannon was fine, right? I think you see the difference between Jonathan Gannon and Sean Desai.
Is he the best defensive coordinator in the league? No. But was he anywhere close to what the way Eagles fans were treating him? Hell no.
No, Eagles fans look stupid. I mean, even if they don't think that Jonathan Gannon was a good coordinator. He got good results. Like during the season, they had the on WIP. Angelo has they do the question of whether they should fire. Like I think Ava read the question before Sirianni came on of whether they should fire Jonathan Gannon or something like that. And Sirianni came on, he was pissed. He was, and like I thought the reaction to Eagles fans was wrong. I mean, you don't have to love him. I certainly never loved him, but I wasn't firing him. He got good results anyway. So here's my question off of all of that, and I think it's fairly obvious to everybody that the coordinators were a problem last year. But you know what else was a problem last year? The personnel, quarterback, the offensive line, the protection, the chemistry, perhaps, on offense with the wide receiver. There were more problems than just the coordinators being bad, right? I think Fangio is going to come in and he's going to help a great deal. I think Kellen Moore is going to come in and help a great deal. But when we get to the end of the season and then you're back in the playoffs, is this a team that's really good enough to get back to another Super Bowl? It's hard to see that right now because of the way we saw the season end. But I just can't put this on the coordinators and say like, oh, well, you know, that's what the problem was and we'll be fine this year. All right, we'll see. I still don't love this defense. Hassan Reddick's not on there anymore. There's a lot of questions that I have about this team. And that when I say that, I don't mean they're winning 7 games. I'm saying, are they only winning 11 games this year and they're going to lose in the playoffs? So,
yeah, there's definitely a lot more questions than answers at this point. We got to see what, again, I keep harping on this. We got to see what they do in the draft. They did bring one of the boys I said to bring back Maddox today for slot corner.
Yeah, I saw that. I was surprised to see that. It really was.
Yeah,
I guess he didn't have he didn't have much interest.
Probably, but if he's coming off the injury, bargain deal with the new defense with Vic Fangio. Hey, give it a shot.
No, I liked it
when he's on. He's one of the best slot corners in the league.
I like it because he's not making any money, and you can just cut him. If he can't stay healthy, then he's not going to be on the team. But I know that if he's healthy, he's better than a lot of these other guys, these other jabronis they have on the team. He's got experience. He played safety at one point, so he's got some versatility to him. I mean, I actually like Devontae Maddox a lot. So for me, you know what it probably was, Steve? That he had a couple of teams interested, but everybody was on the same level. Where he's more or less getting a veteran minimum or right around that money. And he said, well, I love Wawa and Dallas Goedert, so let me go back to Philadelphia. There you go.
The bromance is what sold him.
Anybody else concerned about the possibility that we've seen the best of Hertz already?
I
think it's a great question, Michael Richmond.
Isn't that the only concern?
I mean, defense personnel, maybe.
No, I'm talking about just in regards to Hertz. It's
the biggest concern. Yeah, it's the biggest concern on the team. Yeah. After what you saw at the end of last year, yeah.
I mean, couldn't you say that for any quarterback though? Like, if you're concerned that this is the best they've ever been, and then they're going to tail off,
Yeah, but we saw. We also just gave him a shit ton of money. We saw it at the end of last year. We remember we saw Carson Wentz go from an MVP to literally. I don't think he should be in the league. He'll never be a starter again.
I'm so mad that he signed with the Chiefs. So mad.
He stinks.
I know he stinks, but I don't want that guy to get any more rings. I
don't. So you're the anti-ring guy. You don't want him going to Kansas City and milking another ring out of him.
Yeah, no. I don't want him to have the Eagles one.
See, I don't have the vitriol for him.
I hate him.
I have zero vitriol for Carson Wentz. He's cooked. He's almost Ben Simmons. Seriously, the fact that the Rams didn't bring him back tells you a lot, right? Like Sean McVay brought him in and was like, hey, listen, they brought him in late in the season because they were desperate, but they gave him a shot. The fact they didn't bring him back and nobody else was really interested in him tells you a lot. See, he's cooked. He'll never be a valuable contributor on the team, even as a backup quarterback. Carson Wentz.
That's what I like to hear. So,
yeah, he's out.
Oh, I'm so vindictive with the Carson Wentz because I didn't want him to draft. I didn't want the Eagles to draft him. I thought Howie was a little because if you remember the year before, Howie kind of went behind Chip's back to say, "Oh, you never trade up to get number 2" when he was trying to get Mariota, and obviously wrong. I will admit I was wrong. I wanted Mariota with Chip, so I was pissed at Howie at that point. So then the next year when he goes up and does the whole thing that he said he would never do, I was like, "What do you mean? Like this dude's like worse."
Yep.
And so I was like stuck on Carson Wentz sucks. Then he has the great year, and I'm like, okay, I was wrong. He's an MVP, and then he goes back to being crappy again. I'm like, all right, well, I ate crow, and now you're back to what I originally said you were, and so I did all that for no reason. So yeah, I just can't forgive him for it.
All right. Well, we'll see. I give Jalen a mulligan last year because the coaching and play calling was so bad, but he also was, and I think it was Kevin that said he think he was playing hurt. All right, let's just agree that he had an injury that limited his mobility last year, but his mobility wasn't his problem. His problem was he was scared to death in the pocket, and he couldn't stay in the pocket, and he was sensing pressure that wasn't there. He thought he was seeing ghosts back there. He did not move around. He did not step up. He was not throwing with confidence. He was worried about the rush. And I don't think that you could say that the pass protection wasn't great last year, and I'll agree with you. It wasn't as bad as it looked with him running around out there. So that's the biggest thing for me is they need to protect him, but they're gonna blitz him until he says don't blitz me. You didn't blitz Peyton Manning. You didn't blitz Tom Brady because they would pick you apart. So if Jalen's not gonna react well to the blitz, that's a problem because they're not gonna stop doing it. So they're my main concerns.
That has to be the main focal point of this offseason for him.
Yep.
And the offense, designing the offense, being able to take advantage of those situations.
And you know what? And I think that the fact that Moore came in, they're gonna run the football again. They got away from that last year. They're gonna make it a focal point of the offense to run the football, and they should. He's much better if he's throwing it 35 times a game. You don't want him throwing it with the high frequency of some of these other quarterbacks out there. He showed the Super Bowl year that I played Pat Mahomes throwing the football in the Super Bowl. So he showed a lot of progress that year. So it's there. But sometimes you see players, they just never get it back. They get spooked. There's an adjustment that's made by defenses on them. They don't get it back. So am I concerned? I would bet Jalen Hurts responds this year, but is he going to be an MVP in the league? I can't tell you that. I don't think they need him to be an MVP to win a season.
They don't. They definitely don't need him to be an MVP.
Yep.
They need him to be a top 10 guy.
Right, exactly right, man. And he can be that guy.
Yeah, and consistent. Just be consistent. Don't lose the game and be the reason that the game falls apart.
No. Yeah, and honestly, he was good until that Bills game. I think we forget.
Well, he was great in the second half of the Bills game.
He was going back and forth with Josh Allen. That's where Josh Allen started playing really well too. All right. Also, just to follow up, yesterday we talked about Hassan Reddick, and Jeff McClain went on The Fanatic and said that he was chasing sacks, and it sounded very negative. Him saying that like the Eagles were being like, "Hey, yeah, he was chasing sacks. That's why we got rid of him." So I talked to a couple of people today, and I got some more context, and I actually listened to the entire clip that he said, and I look at it a lot differently now. I think what the point of what Jeff was saying was that the Eagles felt like that him and Josh Sweat too weren't playing the run like they should have. They were more interested in maybe instead of doing what they should do and going in and like taking on a block because that would mean that somebody else could get them. They were trying to go around blocks or they were trying to get sacks instead of staying where they should stay. You know what I mean? And being a little bit selfish as far as getting that. But it really wasn't meant to be all that negative on Hassan Reddick, is what I was told by a couple people on the beat. Said that they heard what Jeff said and they thought it got taken out of context a little bit. And it did. It definitely did. We have that.
I don't know. It's still like if your job is supposed to be taking on the block and you're running around it, how is that not a negative? It's like they talk about that all the time in football scheme. Or it's like, all right, you might not be the guy making the tackle, but you're allowing the guy to make the tackle.
So that's what the Eagles felt like they were doing. And yeah, I guess
that sounds like negative to me. It sounds like you're saying the guy wasn't doing his job. So that's
Fletcher Cox had comments after the season that was alluding to something like that. So again, you know what happens when you lose? That stuff happens where guys have problems with each other. Where all of a
they
sudden
start pointing fingers. They find a reason to be mad at each other.
Yep. And that's what happened last year, for sure. All right, WrestleMania is coming to Philadelphia this weekend. Delco Steve, I'm sure you have your belt. I saw you with it earlier on Instagram. You have your WWE belt. No?
I got a fantasy football championship belt upstairs. That's about it.
Are you a wrestling fan?
No, not in the slightest. Don't know a thing about it.
I know a lot of people on our board here are big wrestling fans. I'm not gonna I don't rip people that watch wrestling. A lot of people watch it or whatever. I watched it as a kid. But I know it's in town. Uncle Jamie's going to the Saturday WrestleMania. He got, I think, a standing room ticket because he knows somebody that has a box. So he got standing room ticket.
Okay.
And he's going to go in the box and check it out.
My little cousin works for coordination for WWE. She was actually supposed to be in town for it, but she got sick and missed it.
Yeah, one of my old interns, definitely before your time, maybe Michael Richmond remembers him. Ryan Ravel, he's been working with WWE.
Oh no, Ryan was there before.
Was he there with you?
I mean, we were there. We overlapped a little bit.
Yeah, he's been a producer for WWE for I don't know, at least the last 5 years. So he's still working for the company. So I know he's excited.
Yep.
He was out actually. You remember when? Maybe you don't remember, but like WWE, they had a card or something in Philadelphia, and they came to training camp. And Lane Johnson's a big WWE guy, so Lane was doing some stuff with their video guys or whatever. And Ryan was the guy that was producing the segment. It was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah. Actually, you know what, Vince? We should have that. The Rock was late to his appearance. He was 90 minutes late to whatever appearance he had tonight, and he said that he was late because he was watching Jalen Hurts lose in the playoffs on YouTube. That's why he was 90 minutes late. So
that's just
thanks,
weird.
The Rock. Yeah, but other than that, I have no interest. I see there's they're doing a lot of media. A lot of people I know on radio are interviewing some of the guys or whatever. I have no interest in maybe Sergeant Slaughter or somebody like that, but
Yeah, I won't be tuning in for 1 single second.
I will not. Me neither. All right. Well, there you go. But there's wrestlers all over. I know that at WIP, they were asking before I was leaving. They're like, "Oh, will you do Radio Row?" So they have a Radio Row over probably.
There's a Radio Row for WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Sure.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, I have no interest in."
It's like.
But we know that. We know that.
I know, but everyone bitches about the NFL, like, oh, the NFL script, and then it's and then this stuff is multi-billion dollars, and it's legit scripted. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
Well, it doesn't do it for me either. But I don't. Whatever. People watch Real Housewives or whatever. I watch Wicked Tuna. Like it's all reality TV shows.
Yeah.
Right. They're entertainers. Skip Bayless is a professional wrestler. Right? Skip Bayless doesn't believe anything he's saying. Stephen A. Smith's a professional wrestler. They're entertaining. That's what they're doing. They're just playing. They're acting.
Yeah.
And the Blue Meanie is my official wrestler too. He has big stuff going on this weekend. Former WWE and ECW superstar Blue Meanie. What's up, Meanie? How you doing out there? Where else did I want to go off that before I bring up the last thing here? I don't even know. Oh, it's been a long day. All right, so Doc Rivers, I was headline reading on this, so I didn't hear what he actually said. Did you hear it? Yeah. So, Doc Rivers and the Bucks are going down. They're not winning anything, and Doc always has a new excuse for everything, or somebody else to blame. But here is Doc Rivers, and he is I don't know. This is him blaming something.
Talking about
sitting back and watching everything, not just our players, but our travel crew, everything. And I've made a lot of notes. I will say that. I won't share that. But we don't bring the necessary professionalism, seriousness on the road, and that's something that we can fix. That's something we're going to have to fix.
Do you feel like that just gets cleaned up in the playoffs? Like, have you seen that in the past?
Yeah, I'm not concerned. Yeah. The playoffs are a new beast, but I'm looking at it for the long run, too. I mean, it's not just for now. Like, we got to be a better road team.
All right. So what the professionalism on the road?
Of the travel crew too. Like what? Like what is?
You know what he's saying? These guys are going out and partying.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying. He's right. And he's pissed about it. He called out Harden for it. He was pissed at Harden because Harden was going out and he was setting a bad example for the young players. And if you suck on the road and you know these guys aren't getting in until 6 o'clock in the morning because they don't have curfew, because they don't have a game that night, he's going to get pissed. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Doc always has excuses.
But like to blame anyone but the players and the coaching staff. Come on. Like what? Like,
I know.
Like, I don't know. It's just
he makes notes. Yeah. What notes do you think Doc actually has?
It's gonna be like Jerry Jones' scribble pad at the owners' meetings.
What did you think? Jerry Jones is just the gift that keeps giving.
Jerry Jones is a legend.
He is awesome.
He's the greatest thing that's happened for the Eagles because they're not winning.
They're not winning shit.
Nope, with him as the GM.
They're not. Yeah, no, Jerry Jones is an absolute legend. All right, I needed to ask this. So tomorrow night, by the way, we're gonna do, to end the week, we're gonna do a we're gonna do Delco Craigslist Price is Right. Yep. The price is wrong, bitch. We'll have to play that. Yeah,
I've already been practicing.
Are you gonna been on there? And this is only good.
I can't cheat.
This is only going to be. It's not going to be for any services rendered or anything like that. This is only going to be items that you can purchase. And I may need to go to Facebook Marketplace to find some other items as well. Like for example, when I did this with Tampa, I got a bundle of porno mags. And it was like $5 and there was like 100 porno mags. But they weren't new. They were used. Yeah, like $5. What a deal. These are the really smutty high society hustlers.
I really wanted to see this page, but they're stuck together.
Right. Like, oh, hold on a second. Oh, I can't wait for the next one. Hold on, it's ripped. Yeah, these are the real smutty show penetration, all the other stuff. So yeah. Real nasty. Top of, remember at the newsstand, they used to be at the very top in the plastic to where you couldn't see what exactly it was, but you knew that it was something that you wanted to get when you were 15.
Yeah, that was probably like 10.
Was that 10? Oh man, these kids today don't know.
They just have a cell phone that they can just type in it into Google.
Dude, the Playboy magazine when you're 12 that somebody in the neighborhood found in their, dad's drawer. It's like, wow, this is awesome.
Like the swimsuit Sports Illustrated edition was awesome. Now it's just like, whatever. I can just see that on Instagram any day.
The world's changed, my friend. The world has changed. All right. Do you buy generic when you go to the grocery store? Are you a generic guy?
It depends. Yeah. Some things I want the name brand, some things I don't.
So it does depend. You're absolutely right. So that's my question. What can you do Bobo and what can you do not Bobo? Right.
Well, I think we were talking medicine before. Like I can do Bobo medicine. That doesn't bother me.
Right. If long as it has the same active ingredients.
Yeah.
We did it with my wife's iron. She was mad that the iron that I bought her was CVS brand.
They didn't have the other stuff.
Right. Yeah, I swear they didn't. No, they didn't have I saved $10, honey. And that's right. I had the $5 coupon. Yep. All right. So this is where, so my daughter, Lena, in the morning, she gets chocolate milk. I'm like, she needs the protein. She needs the calories, whatever. She doesn't drink regular milk. So we get chocolate milk. So I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, all right, the Wegmans brand of chocolate syrup is like $2 cheaper than the Hershey's for the same thing. But also I have a very finicky eater. Very finicky. Do I risk it? And so I'm like, F it. Yeah, all right, I'm doing it. So like, I'm almost trying.
I feel like it's chocolate. You're fine.
It's got to be as close to the same thing. So she also is very perceptive. So she will like, if she notices that it's not the same thing, she'll be, I don't want that. It tastes different. Even if it doesn't, like, she'll be like, no, I don't want right? So like
You're out in your car squeezing Wegmans Hershey syrup into a Hershey bar.
no, I hide it over like on the other side of the refrigerator when I make it, just so she can't see it. So right away, she's like, "This doesn't taste the same," and I'm like, "No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." So she's like drinking it, and I'm like, "God damn it, I'm gonna have." See, I took the risk, and it's gonna end up costing me the $4.
No, so now this is what you do. You go back and you get the Hershey, and then you just mix them like a half and half as you go. So you're not totally eating the $4.
That, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Well, I just kept giving it to her anyway. I'm like, no, I didn't tell her that I got it. I got the store brand.
Yeah.
I was just like, it tastes fine. Just put more chocolate in it. There's too
or
much
like
chocolate in it.
The next time, just get or you do like 75% of the real Hershey and then 25% of the Wegmans, and then it saves you like a bottle somewhere down there.
No, you're right. It does. Yeah, Michael Richmond, you don't have any idea what goes on with. If it was easy as giving them some shake, believe me, we tried everything. The chocolate milk is the one thing that she'll do. All the fruit, the strawberries, they did not. The strawberries tasted bad, and the strawberries were cheaper. Significantly cheaper. The blueberries are like $3 cheaper than at Wegmans, and the blueberries are fine, but the strawberries at Aldi were bad. They're like, "These taste bad, Daddy," and it's like, bam, $2 wasted.
Yeah, but isn't that just like bad? Like you could get bad fruit from anywhere. It's like you get a fresh batch of fruit. I don't know. I feel like fruit you can't really go store brand fruit to Bobo fruit.
No, but it was the first time I actually went and got fruit at Aldi. Because I'm like, you know what? Like I could save easily $10 on produce, and they were all like, "These strawberries are terrible," and I'm like, "Oh man, I just wasted." All right, can you go Bobo mustard, yellow mustard?
I think I could. Why not? I'm not a big yellow guy anyway.
Correct. Well, I would go Bobo brown mustard too, but you can't go Bobo ketchup.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. I actually agree with that.
Right?
Some Bobo ketchups are weird.
You can only go
like
one
kind
of ketchup.
They get I feel like they don't keep the right consistency.
No, it tastes terrible. For whatever reason, Heinz, like nobody's been able to replicate Heinz. You know it tastes different. Like if I go to a restaurant and they have like the Bobo ketchup, I'm like, I'm never coming here again. No way. If you can't serve Heinz ketchup, I'm out.
I can't do Bobo TP. No, it's got.
So that was my next question.
Yeah,
Bobo TP
out unless dire circumstances. That's it.
You go but you can also get like I go store brand Wegmans because it's fine. It's not single ply. It's like it's as good as Charmin, maybe not as soft, but I don't want the really soft one.
I get like the better version. Like I don't even is it Scott? Like the higher end version of Scott's or whatever. I think I don't even know. Something from BJ's.
So that's right. You like to go to the Price Club.
Yeah, 100%. Get a month and a half's worth of shopping done and
then you're finished.
Yeah, no.
All
least amount of shopping possible for me.
All right. Well, remember, tune in tomorrow for the first ever edition on the show of Delco Price is Right. Delco Craigslist Price is Right.
Let's see if I might buy some stuff off of this if we get some entertaining stuff.
But by the way, I have a ton of stuff for sale that I need to put on. Anybody need a brand new Peloton? It's upstairs in my closet.
Good. No? You don't want to exercise in your Peloton anymore?
Not my Peloton. So no, I have no interest in it. Not my Peloton.
The shade.
I think we're still paying for it too. I think it's still coming out monthly. Now I think it's paid off because that was a pandemic purchase. Man, I don't know. Fucking Peloton. But next to me on my clothes stand next to me, which is an elliptical. So that just holds holds my clothes. Also not mine, but an elliptical. It's next to it's on my side of the bed.
It's multi-purpose.
It holds my clothes, so I'm not going to complain about it.
There you go.
So I have plenty of things that I could actually. You know what? That'll be the following week. We'll do my items. How much should I list them for on Craigslist?
There you go.
There you go. All right, so that's coming up tomorrow night. Again, if you wanted to see me on with Ant today on PHLY, I was on with him for a good half hour, and then Jamie Lynch, the bro, joined us for another half hour.
Hey, what were the topics? I meant to ask you earlier. What were you discussing? Just anything and everything?
We were just kind of bullshitting, and then the back end, like first 15 minutes, we were just like reminiscing, and then it was the back end. We talked about some sports. Then Jamie came on, and we reminisced. And then probably the last 10 minutes with Jamie, Jamie had to go on the air to do his Phillies podcast. But like, so they kept like trying to tell him like, hey, like you got to get out. And Ant's like, yeah. Like he was making Jamie late for the podcast. So it just kept waving him off, and Jamie kept being there. We just kept talking. So it was, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a really good hour. So Anthony's doing some good stuff at PHLY. So check it out. So just I have it on my Instagram story, John Marks Media. So follow, subscribe, comment, and like. Hit that like button. That's what I've been when I listen to the YouTube show, Steve. They say like pound that like button. Like button. What does it do? Why do they want people to like it? Does that make more people have it like available to them or something?
Probably. It probably gets more, more traction or whatever, or more like
smash it.
Yeah.
That's what Vince, that's what they say. Smash that like button. Smash it.
You got to work the algorithm, man.
Yeah, it's the algorithm. You must have to if you smash the like button a lot, then it turns up in the algorithm. All right, tomorrow's Friday. We'll talk to you then. Delco Steve, have a good night, brother.
You too, sir.
All right, buddy. All right, talk to you tomorrow. See you.